meeting for April 21st, 2026, order at 6:31. Given that. So first thing I'll do is call the roll, and then we'll go from there. So I am here, Sue Bergeron is here, Roger Morris is here, and Mary Lowe is here. Pauline Lothrop and Jason Yatsman not here. We're also joined by Taylor Lucier. She's the interim city of Groton Place. So thank you. We have a quorum. We don't have minutes for tonight's meeting. Before we go any further, is there anyone who could be would like to act as secretary for the meeting tonight? Sure. Thank you, Sue. Sue Bergeron, the act secretary. Appreciate you stepping into the breach. The next item, as I said, we don't have minutes, so we can't approve them from the March 17th meeting. And the next item is the staff report. So, David.
So for tonight, we have a public hearing. It's a text amendment, and we can make some revisions to that text amendment since we last met. Their revised language is now pet training, grooming, and daycare facility, and it's a commercial establishment where common household pets are kept, maintained, and treated for monetary compensation. This use shall not include overnight boarding. A pet training, living, or daycare facility shall not be considered a kennel, pet store, veterinary hospital, and this will be in definition in section 2.2. And then to also add the pet training, grooming, and daycare facility as a permitted use in general commercial zone as by site plan approval. And I have sent out the referrals to CPROG, to DP, just make sure. And I've sent to joining municipalities, Groton and New London. I've received funding back from CPROG, and I've received funding back from Groton. And so both referral and legal notice is also very legally notified to the paper on April 10th and April 17th. So we're copying referral and legal notice in this packet. And then, so if this amendment's approved, I advise the applicant to go for a change of use zoning permit because section 9.3.B.2 it says that the colonel will be subject to approval by a zoning official because she's not proposing any structural enlargement, just a tenant, so she will be doing a change in use tenant form, and that'll be signed by a zoning official. And then I also looked into the multifamily building coverage research, so you'll find a Excel sheet with all data from all CPOC panels for all zones applicable that are multifamily zones and the building coverage, the link for that. And then I have also got the land use applications online on permit link, so they do look a little different from the applications we're used to. The permit link kind of takes a one application fits all municipalities kind of approach, and I did review the applications, and they do ask for a little bit more detail for applicants, and also kind of condense some forms. So rather than someone applying for a site plan application, site plan application, like site plan modification applications are two different applications anymore. Someone applying for a site plan go on a site plan application, select this is just a modification, and so it's changes like that. And then I'm open to any suggestions on any changes to the applications if you want. The camera view application is still in development because it's a new application that normally hasn't really dealt with before, so they're developing that. And they also let me know that the cost to the city will be $1,000 for deployment of the application, which isn't bad for systems. And then Paul also brought to me to revisit a proposed text amendment. Guys, and choose over your side time, but it is the city planner may approve by zoning permit at the time of building permit application. Change of use is not required expansion of building or approval final lot, provided that the change of use is permitted by site plan approval. I believe this is already in zoning regs from the section I just mentioned, so I'm not sure if we want to take a look at that, but definitely open to that. And I also attached a flyer. This is on the city website. It is for the Residential Energy Efficiency Resource Fair. It's hosted by the Southeastern Jacket Housing Alliance. And that is a group with CCOG, and it has multiple town officials and developers. It's all part of this house water strip. And there's one happening in Norwich on Wednesday. But the one next week will be on the 29th. It'll be 4:30 to 6:30. And that will be at 555 in Groton. Or concludes that staff report. I also wrote a separate staff report for the cameras rule. And then I also wrote a memorandum for the Hudson Bell changes. So what's staff report.
All right, any questions or comments from commissioners?
In which we should when the meeting is what that
Yes, it is. The residential energy efficiency research there. And it's from 4:30 to 6:30. You might want to relook at that file for details. And it's at Ride 55 Groton. That's on the 29th. Is on say. Yeah.
All right, so thanks for that, Taylor. So just a couple of questions. On the land use permitting documents on the portal. We'll get all the information that we currently get.
Yes.
There's something we'll have what's on gun form A and B.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
Reviewed it.
generic
It's just
is
nothing was missing. So it looked like nothing was really missing from the applications we have now. And then just has like extra details, like, are your taxes up to date? Why do you been through the health department? So certain stuff that we forget to kind of check. Run back or check for. So
Okay.
does a portal exist now? And this is a change to it. So
Yeah.
it does exist.
yeah, so all building permits are handled online through this system as well. And so
So I had one other, just one comment on that. The subdivision application, page 3. There's a bunch of things that you're supposed to check that this person did.
Yep.
And they all say he. So I thought we might want to, use a more inclusive
Yeah.
term there. All right, anybody else, any questions or comments on the staff report? But in terms of the proposed text amendment, I recall that this was something that Mr. Adair had mentioned several years ago, and I don't recall if it was ever incorporated into the regulations. If it's there, great.
Yep.
If it's not, we should consider.
it looks like it is from the section I just referenced. So
What section was it?
it's section 9.3. 8.2. Yeah.
Is that great? Oh, it's on there. Oh, there it was. Thank you. I guess one other comment I had was on the, thank you so much for doing the multi-zone, the building coverage in the multifamily zones for the different towns. That's, I think, very helpful and informative. And may potentially influence some of our discussion about what's going on in section 3. I'll just add to that Sue, Mary, and I were all attended a presentation on missing middle housing on the 26th of March. And one of the things that the town hired a consultant with a grant from the Department of Defense, but the consultants looked at a lot of different things about the zoning regulations and things like that. And one of the things that they did say was that a low percent of lot coverage inhibits multifamily missing middle development. So that's well something to keep in mind. Is ties in really well with the work fund and coverage. That's so thanks. All right. Anything else on the staff report? All right, next up is the public hearing. So we've got all we'll open the public hearing and I'll read the public hearing procedure and we can start. So Uh, Good evening. As I stated before, I am Paul Kunkemuller. I'm the chair of the City Planning and Zoning Commission, and I'm going to open a public hearing for text amendment number TA 01-26. Text amendment for section 2.2 to add pet training, grooming, and daycare facility as a definition, and it's trying to change to section 4.6.c to add pet training, grooming, and daycare as a permitted use. Purpose of the public hearing is for the commission to receive input from the applicant, proponents, opponents, and all interested parties or citizens who wish to comment on the application. It's important to note that once the application is received by the commission, no member may comment on or discuss this application with any other member of the commission, the applicant, applicant's agent, or member of the public or interested party, except during the public hearing proceedings. Once the hearing is closed, commission members may only discuss this application with other commission members during deliberations. The hearing is being recorded, the minutes are being documented. Anyone wishing to speak shall do so from the microphone. And the hearing, and state your name, clearly spelling your last name for the record, provide your address. Please speak slowly into the microphone or reintroduce yourself every time you speak. Commission uses one procedure during public hearings. Each hearing will be introduced. The applicant or designated agent will present the application. Commission staff will have the opportunity to ask questions and provide comments. The applicant will then have the opportunity to address staff and commission comments and questions. The chair will then ask for public comments in the following order: comments in favor of the application, comments in opposition to the application, or comments that are in favor or opposition to the application. If there are questions to the applicant, staff, or commission shall be addressed to the chair. Chair will pose the question or questions to the appropriate party or parties. Please limit comments to how the application does or does not comply with land use regulations or the plan of conservation and development. The applicant will have the opportunity to address public comments and questions. Commission and staff will be providing further opportunity to ask additional questions and to offer further comments. The applicant and members of the public will have one opportunity to respond to commission's and staff questions or comments. The commission will then decide whether to close or continue the public hearing to a future date. Once the hearing is closed, the commission is unable to hear additional comments or accept exhibits or correspondence in favor or opposition or with a neutral position. The commission will then deliberate upon the application. Deliberations will occur during the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Public is welcome to listen to the commission's discussions. Agendas are posted a minimum of 24 hours in advance of a regular scheduled meeting of the commission and are provided on the city's website and at the city clerk's office. During deliberations, commission members will discuss the application and input from staff. The commission will take into consideration relevant testimony, the information provided by the applicant and members of the public. Following deliberations, the commission will then vote on the application. Vote outcomes could be to approve or approve with conditions, deny or deny prejudice. Are there any questions regarding this procedure before we open the floor? I don't see any. Therefore, public hearing on text amendment number TA 01-26 is now open. So the applicant, please come forward and present the application. Excellent.
Well, I have a statement prepared form.
I'm sorry, name and
My
address.
name is Stephanie Heiser. And my address is 11 Garden Court, Jessic. And the packet 063. And Heiser is spelled HYZE.
That's your.
I have a little statement prepared. My name is Brittany, as a resident of Mystic, which is a portion of Groton. I'm also the owner and head certified professional dog trainer of Feel Better to Better Dog Training LLC. I've been operating in this area of Southeast Connecticut since 2021, serving hundreds, if not thousands, of clients and their dogs through welfare-centered instruction and cooperation-based dog training. Most people are unaware, but dog training is an unregulated industry in this country, and I pride myself on the pursuit of third-party credentialing through the Certification Council for Professional Dog Training, meaning I have signed and follow a code of ethics. I'm committed to earning continuing education credits to stay on the forefront of behavior science, and as a fear-free certified
certified professional, and also dedicated to safe and kind training principles for dogs and humans in my care. In the process of looking into leasing a commercial space at 266 Bridge Street in Groton City, I learned that there was nothing pre-existing in the zoning regulations that clarified where my services or other pet-related services like grooming and daycare would be permitted, and that a text amendment would be required to move forward. I am passionate about pursuing this amendment because having my first brick and mortar location would allow me to better serve my student dogs and making live with more group class options, a controlled environment for social exposure, and a space to build community with fellow dog people. I teach dogs new skills, yes, but the vast majority of what I do is teach people about their dogs, how to keep them safe, how to keep people safe, and how to be responsible members of our community by picking up after our furry friends and not allowing their dogs to be a nuisance to others. I truly believe passing this text amendment allowing pet training, growing, and daycare in Groton City's general commercial zone will benefit the community by allowing me to expand my services across availability and provide a safe and secure space for learning to occur for both ends of the leash. I have a multitude of typed out statements from clients and friends, supporters in the area that I'm happy to provide. I have them, hard copy, but I also have digital that is easier to provide for everybody to review. I'll just, I am hoping that we can make this happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, please.
Not right now.
Or will to be done
For the record.
for the record. Okay, questions or comments from commissioners?
This is a use change or
It's right, we're adding a use, but then we're adding a definition.
in onward hitting approved use.
I guess it's approved by site plan. Correct? That's 4.6.c, pet training, grooming, and daycare facilities permitted use by site plan. Anybody else?
The only urban question I have is the second comment previous over generally, and is it possible to put a looser definition other than just bounds? So that they can sort of
Yeah, it's in the revised pet training, so it's also inclusive the cats, dogs, puppies.
they are certainly not identical, maybe this fence. And we will help to train. Like in there, there's one for professional services.
Right.
All right,
Yeah, good.
if we have to identify it.
Well, I mean, we got into a little bind because there's also a definition of agriculture that
That's a true.
kind of pulled this in, and it would have not allowed this use in the general commercial zone.
The agricultural definition says training of fur-bearing animals.
Is it louder than that?
It's not allowed in the general commercial zone.
Right, so we had to add the definition and the use. In order to, and it, so there's already, there's already a dog. So it made sense to kind of pull all those things together.
Okay.
Because rather than try to rely on the professional services or personal services, then potentially be a conflict then with the agriculture. So I think this seems like the best.
That's fine.
Anybody else? And
You say there's already an existing dog training.
there's a groomer.
Groomer. Okay, and that's under, that's over the world professional services.
It's a it's a pre-existing non-conforming in the case of 2016 when the agricultural definition was implemented. So anytime before 2016, it would just be signed off by the zoning official. Well, in their case, I believe it was tenant born. So that's how they were able to be established.
Get some gel. Yeah, so that's a good question. Anybody else? All right, let's see, anybody from the public which to speak in favor of the application?
Speak.
Please come forward, state your name and address.
So, good evening, everybody. My name is Thomas John Kelly. I am from the city of Waterford, Connecticut. I live at 23 Emmett Road, zip code 06385. And that is Kelly, Kelly, the correct way. So, was that
26.
23 Emmett Road?
Yes, that's the one.
Yep, that's DIMMOCK.
Next in town.
Waterford. But I also work along North Groton, I work in Stonington, I work in all around the area.
Thank you.
So I have the unique opportunity of working with Brittany in two different facets. I work with her as a business strategy consultant, so I work directly with her in her business, and I work as a pet care specialist with a company that partners with her. So I understand dogs, I understand her business, and I understand the value that she provides. She, like she mentioned, she works to help people understand the psychology behind what dogs do. So you are not simply just changing the behavior. You are understanding why the dog is, doing that behavior, and you are meeting them halfway. But in working with dogs, I found this to be extremely successful. I find that when you meet dogs where they're at, you have a lot better time not only getting them to do what you want them to do, but understanding why they don't do what you want them to do, and how you can kind of make a symbiotic relationship that works better with everybody. In working with her business, I can see the passion, I can see the fire behind what she does, and then I can see the unique approach that she takes to dog training, and I can see the growth and scalability that she could bring to this community with the training classes. Currently, she does do training classes at another facility. This facility would give her the opportunity to double or triple that. Not only does that improve her business, that improves the city of Groton's opportunity for that. Dog training is a growing need. I understand this by researching marketing trends, that families are more time constrained than ever to train their dogs. And when they have that stress, it's not easy to just, work and do that. What Brittany provides is a way to take that to the home, and an opportunity to have a class like that can really just kind of make things a lot easier for everybody. So I think she provides a lot of value to the city of Groton. I think that opening up this regulation to the city of Groton provides value not just for her business, but beyond. And I think it should be strongly considered.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hey everyone, Rachel White, WHITE. I live at 150 and Base Island. And I came across Brandy and one of the basic because I just got a brand new Shar-Pei puppy, and he was around 14 weeks old, and I didn't know anything about having a puppy, but I knew that he would need training. That's all I knew. And getting recommendations, Brittany's name came up multiple times. So I reached out to her. I let her know I was getting a new puppy and that he was beyond scared of everything and everyone. And she reassured me that I would work with him. And the first couple of times she explained that he may not approach me, but she reassured me that in working with me, we would have that relationship and building this trust. And she educated me on exactly his working lives developmentally and how we can help him in the future. And so I set up sessions, and I learned so much from her just in the first couple of sessions, just building his trust and just working it, and her providing homework. I mean, she just takes the time to get to know the dog, to get to know the humans that are working with the dog, and just the dedication that she has. It opened my eyes. I mean, I'm still talking about her to other people. I always recommend her. There's still other people that recommend her. She takes the time, she puts in the effort, and I think she deserves her own space to like help multiple families in the future. And I couldn't thank her enough for everything she's done for me and my family and for my dog. My dog is now able to go up to humans and not fear for his life, which is huge, like a huge accomplishment. So yeah, thank you. And I really hope you guys put her in favor of it. And it'll help other people. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak in favor of the application? Hold on.
Hi, my name is Jody Hill, Hill. And I live at 7 Rockwell Terrace in Norwich, Connecticut, 06360. Yes. So as I said, my name is Jody Hill, and I'm a part-time dog trainer. From 2016 to 2019, I held a certification from the Certification Council for Professional Dog Trainers, known as the CPDTKA, before stepping away to focus on my full-time job as a software engineer. I've known Brittany Heiser since 2022, when I reached out to Know Better, Be Better Dog Training for a second opinion and help with introducing a foster dog who was a 70-pound pit bull, but afraid of his own shadow, to my dog, who was known for having strong opinions about who should be allowed to cuddle with his mom. I was immediately impressed with Brittany's professionalism, not to mention her training knowledge and skill working with my dogs. But the thing that stood out to me the most was how much she cared. Being a dog trainer is harder than most people realize. Sure, some days are filled with endless cute puppies, but most of the time, trainers consult on difficult and often heartbreaking cases. In the 4 years I've known Brittany, I've been in awe of her resilience. She approaches challenges with a level head and respect for all involved. Groton would be lucky to have a trainer like Brittany. She's not only a terrific dog trainer who would be an asset to this community, but she's a wonderful person who I'm proud to call my friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak in favor of the application?
My name is Marina DeMarco, DeMarco, 47 Twin Lakes Drive in Waterford, Connecticut, 068. I wrote a wonderful note that Brittany had included. And I really just wanted to say that any community that welcomes her in any capacity is better for her. Without any inspiration. She brings a level of professionalism and commitment. I have utilized her expertise for training my own dogs. I have watched her train other dogs. I have watched her work with people who are beyond exasperated with their pets. And I have watched people struggle with other trainers that ultimately end up successful with Brittany and dogs doing better and living better lives in their communities instead of ending up in animal control situations or becoming a nuisance of any kind. She just brings peace to the pet training industry, and she's a fabulous addition, and we would be remiss to not include her as part of the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak in favor of the application? All right. Anyone like to speak in opposition to the application? Anyone want to speak neither in favor nor in opposition? Right, so nobody wants to speak. Any additional comments questions from commissioners? All right. Any staff comments, Taylor?
This is the most awesome public hearing I've ever heard. That's what Brittany brings. I think that she's here.
All right. Is there a motion to close the public hearing? I don't think we need to carry on first. Second. Motion by Ms. Bergeron, second by Mr. Boris. All right. Any further discussion on the motion? So the motion to close the public hearing for TA 01-26. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The motion is approved 4-0-0. All right, let's move on to deliberations here. Anybody have any commissioner comments, thoughts on the application?
Well, I just want to say the fact that I have a dog that I love very much and is disobedient will not sway my. Just text another.
You have to confess real thoughts.
Yes.
She likes those two. Oh, what factors do we need to consider that?
Well, I mean, is it?
I'm asking that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good question. So is it an appropriate use? Or is it an appropriate use to have in the general commercial zone? I think it's the probably this question. And as I mentioned, it's not, we already have a dog groomer, dog training. It's not, from my perspective, it's not like it's not an overnight, it's not like kennel, those kind of things that could be more of a concern. But it's to me, it seems pretty straightforward. But it's is it appropriate? It's it's a location that's, already, it's an established commercial area. So, it's there's plenty of parking and those kind of things that I don't see.
It seems to me that just apart from Brittany Heiser and her planning, it's probably a worthwhile thing to have in your zoning law, just on the face of it.
Right. Yep, right. Especially
Worthwhile.
right. And it's as was mentioned, I think in the public comments, that I think it's that's the kind of services people are looking for. So it's nice to be able to have one that's convenient for
I think it promotes economic activity down there as well.
Sure.
In that area.
That's a good one. And it's an area where if there were dogs barking, it's not linked to what in the neighborhood.
Right. So there's no, there are residences abutting it. Any other questions you comments?
How would the text be shaped? What language will we use to?
I have a random your package.
So I'll read the, so it's section 2.2. The definition would be pet training, grooming, and daycare facility, a commercial establishment where common household pets are kept, maintained, or trained for monetary compensation. The use shall not include overnight boarding. A pet training, grooming, or daycare facility shall not be considered a kennel, pet store, or veterinary hospital.
So there's a different one.
There's the grooming is part of what the name of that. Do you think we should add the word groom to the city definition?
We that group did that. Kept maintaining on the journey. We maintained this. Taking this current, but side group.
Well, I mean, grooming is in the title of the
Right.
of the definition. So certainly I think it be included.
There isn't a grooming place in the zone already.
Right. Cool. Other questions, comments? All right, we're to, is there a motion to approve text amendment, 01-26 for the effective date of, May 6th, 2026, correct? Motion by Mr. Boris. Is there a second? Second by Mrs. Lowe. All right, any further discussion on the motion? Okay, being none, all those in favor of approve the text amendment 01-26 for the effective date, May 6, 2026. Excuse me, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions. Motion is approved with 4-0-0. So. Congratulations. Hope they know this enough.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda, new business. This CAM application number 344, it's for construction of a single family home, coastal area development zone. JEM Builders is the applicant versus 25 Circle Ave. Sorry.
I was worried they were here for me.
Yeah.
Do you want me to set up, I have a little, just to,
Sure, go ahead.
is there a good spot that, or is there anyone on Zoom that we have to worry about?
So,
We could follow, yep.
no, they're remote Zoom.
Set up right here. Good evening, my name's Greg Bettis. WDUS GREGG Bettis Engineering, in office at 70 Essex Street, Mystic, Connecticut. I'm representing them builders, the owner of the property at 25 Circle Ave, city of Groton. This is a property just south of some property that was owned by Pfizer. In fact, some of this land was owned by Pfizer, and they just recently sold it to Mr. Jakin from Gen Builders. But he's proposing a single family home on 2 lots. Actually, the upper lot didn't require, and somehow it slipped by the October 31st or October 1st recent deadline. But anyway, this is a single family home built on an existing non-conforming lot. Meets all the zoning requirements for setbacks, height, coverage. And so the kind of the important, it's out of the flood zone, it's out of the FEMA flood zone, it's in zone X. So kind of the important, the water is down to the sort of the to the west, southwestish. But there's another row of houses on the other side of Circle Ave. So the important things are here, we're trying to kind of keep the existing grades pretty intact. We tie all of our contours into both sides. There's a basically a 2-car driveway off of Circle Ave. So some of the items we look at in these type of applications are erosion sediment control. Basically, we don't want sediment eroding crossing Circle Avenue, crossing or getting into the stormwater system that's on Circle Ave, or working its way across the lots across the street. So we do have the silt fence down gradient of the disturbed areas. We also have an anti-tracking pad for other vehicles entering and trying to keep the mud from getting back on the Circle Avenue and getting into the stormwater system. That's all detailed on the plan. Anti-tracking pad, silt fence. And we also are controlling stormwater. We're controlling the first 1.3 inches rainwater that falls on impervious areas that's captured basically on the roof when the gutter system that goes into an underground infiltration system that's located under the driveway. And that's sized accordingly to capture the first 1.3 inches, which is a best management practice in the stormwater quality manual. That's basically it, unless there's any specific questions regarding the application. Happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Commissioner?
I have a question. I don't know if it's to this chairman, but could someone tell me why is this different that an existing non-conforming use? Why not conforming?
No, well, you want to,
Sure, the use, I'd say the use is conforming, it's in the, any residential zone, and so it's permitted. Permitted with the residential zone, just the RA zone, the lot size. Does not meet the requirements of the zone, so an existing non-conforming lot for the bulk regulation, which are. I think it's the size and the frontage or the lot width. Those were the two that were existing non-conforming. We actually were able to adjust because there were actually 3 lots here. There were 2 and then a smaller lot, so we actually reconfigured lot sizes to actually make it a little bit less non-conforming. So we actually made it a little bit bigger than it was. And there was a house, I believe there was a house there before. It's been knocked down a while ago. I think Pfizer knocked the houses down that were there on the 2 lots. So it's a conforming use, existing non-conforming lot size.
The lot size is 0.14 acres. According to what I'm reading, 0.14.
I would say it's, unless I miscalculated on my plan here, it's the lot size is 5,205 square feet, which I have is 4.12 acres.
0.12. That's what I thought I read in a different document.
Yeah, that's what, I mean, I could check the map real quick, but it's pretty.
I read that in a different document. This one says. So could you explain, help me know what would be the acreage of the lot if the size were a conforming size in that zone? What would be the conforming size acreage?
Yep. 1 second. Alex on the HR for the 0.18.
0.18.
right, the RA zone requires an 8,000 square foot lot size. And it's currently 4,000 and you're trying to increase it, but roughly 5,000.
Correct.
Okay, so 8,000, and it's going to bring the feet to 5,000.
Right, it's going from 4,000 to 5,000.
Yeah.
So it makes it less non-conforming, which is something that's generally viewed favorably. It doesn't make it more non-conforming, it makes it less non-conforming.
Yeah, typically regulations, and I haven't looked specifically in the city of Groton, but typically you can't I couldn't make it smaller and say, okay, if you are, I make it smaller. But if I decrease the non-conformity, that's kind of okay, because you're getting closer to conformity, which could be rule 1,000. Ideally, if we had enough land, we could make it 8,000, but we do.
I went over there a couple days ago to look at the property, so I understand what I was talking about.
Yep.
And is it the portion of land that has a big earth mover sitting right in the middle of it right now? Or 2 days ago?
I don't know if it's sitting there. What I know is that the lot to the north, they built the foundation and then.
They're building a house.
Yes, they're building a house.
Right next door.
Right. So
Yeah.
the excavator that was working here may be
Okay,
just sitting there.
there's the
kind of-
church and then there's that
Yeah, the
house
church
that's
is,
under construction.
yeah, church is about here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the house under
House.
construction is here.
And then on the other side of that lawn to the south is a large house, a complete house.
This,
That's ideal.
was it? Yeah, I couldn't say it was larger. I just know
It's big.
Okay. And I know there's some larger houses across on the waterfront side.
And the back side of that the little property we're talking about opposite the street. appeared to me to be like a tall stone wall, and it's a Pfizer was on the other side.
Yeah.
Right,
So Pfizer had on this and this,
right.
they were, then, you know, they have a fence line somewhere in the area. And then their campus, or a portion of their campus is on the other side of that.
The, what I observed, just, you know, by sight, the other blow is that the ground goes pretty up above the level of the sidewalk. It goes up.
Yes, yep,
And
there's a wall. A little bit of a retaining wall, I think that starts basically at the common property line and runs north. It does step up, but,
pretty significantly.
yeah. So it's almost as if 25 circle is a walk out the front kind of thing. So like this level in the back is the second floor. So we kind of built it into the slope instead of trying to, I guess, fight the slope. This kind of built into it to make it less, one, it would have been problematic grading on both sides, and then we also would have had to remove a lot of material. It was,
So it's built into the slope. And
yeah,
it's, yeah, well, it's a pretty significant slope going up.
yeah, it's pretty good. It's it goes from, you know, down by the road, it's like elevation 15, 16, and then up at the top just before the wall, it's at elevation 34. So it is a good a decent slope, I should say. Yeah. So
And the grade changes was roughly 20 feet and lot depth is.
This is probably outside of your particular range of concern about the project, but do you have any knowledge at all about how the neighbors feel about this project? Do you know anything about it?
I don't think there's, you know, I've been involved in a lot of projects over the years. I mean, nobody's here. Which is kind of one telltale sign, because I don't think it's not that we're flying under the radar. I think it's out there, especially because this house is being built. I mean, the neighbor here, it's Pfizer kind of around more than half of it, and then you got the church across the street. I think it's all been pretty good, and he's building. I would consider it a modest. It's not, you know, it's not a McMansion. It's a, you know, it's a good looking shingle style. So he's not, I don't think he's being greedy. So really one neighbor, I think here, I know it was important that we didn't build any walls on that side, or that we kind of matched the grades and so forth. So I know that was directed to me. Because I think originally I did have a wall going there because it would have just made the construction easier, but we worked with the existing grades, and so I guess I don't, yeah, there's no one here, and I haven't really heard anything sort of negative or necessarily positive.
Can you remind us of the square footage of the actual footprint of the building? I'm sure it's written down somewhere.
Yeah, it's right. So we do a building coverage diagram here. So the house is 1,065. And then there's a covered porch that's 135 square feet. And then the staircase and the stoop for another 94 square feet. So we kind of break it out. So the main house is, so it's easy to follow, 1,065. And we are, let's say, coverage. Yeah, we're just under the allowable coverage, which is 25%.
I have just simple question for us. So to understand, so this is technically not a buildable lot, correct? It doesn't meet the square footage requirements of protocol. So what makes this? Is that what this is? We're being asked to waive the requirements for lot size? And then what's the argument for doing that?
So the lot's non-conforming, it's a legal lot of record. So what that means is that as long as it's within setbacks, they can build on it, and if there's no wetlands on it, they can build on it. So even if it's non-conforming, that's non-conforming, it's still a legal lot of record, so they can still.
What's that word you're using? Something about records?
Yeah,
Of
legal
what?
lot of record, so when someone comes to a lease and zoning office, for example, we're more apt to say it's a legal lot of record, as in, because we're not really able to verify if it's a buildable lot until it goes to the building permit, and then that's when the building kind of gets issued. So we're usually purchasing legal lot of record rather than building lot.
Legal bucket.
Yeah, so we're here tonight just for any approval or site. So the zoning stuff, we just, one, we have to ensure that we meet all of the bulk requirements, which are setback requirements, coverage, height. And then the I guess it's both the size and the width are stuff we can't change. That's where I think the legal non-conforming lot of record comes into play. So we're not necessarily asking, no disrespect, but we're not asking for approval of whether or not we can build here. We're just asking for animal, which is has its own level of whether or not we're kind of doing the right thing with erosion sediment control, whether or not we're doing the right thing with stormwater, whether or not there's going to be adverse impacts to coastal resources. We are relatively, a few months ago, we wouldn't be here because there was a single family home exception. But they took that away recently. So now everything within the CAM zone, single family home, needs to come before you guys. So you or zoning board of appeals or depending on the application.
So anything else, Mary?
Well, I'm to ask you, Paul, or anyone on the board. So for this particular instance, are we passing judgment only on the coastal management aspect of this?
That's correct. yes.
That's all that we're passing judgment on.
That's all its performance. Yeah. It's got, as long as it meets the requirements of the for in terms of the setbacks and things like that, which it does based on the information that's provided, but we're just looking at basically the drainage. Essentially, yeah, that, and I see there's a proposed drain from that, like on the clustering. This it's just this southeast corner on the property. Of the house, right? I see there's a proposed drain there.
So I'm right in the corner. We show the gutters bigger coming down,
Okay,
and then we just pipe that. We just want to make sure we found that we're piping everything to this underground infiltration system, which is detailed in the upper right corner, I'd say.
okay, so is that drain doesn't look like it's a leader from the house. It looks like it might be in the yard. So.
Oh. Yeah, they're right. Proposed drain.
And that's going to be tied into the
So the
filtration.
objective is to keep water off of the neighbor's property. So this is kind of a high point in the back of the house here, and then we drain around. And then you can see with the 26 and the 24 contour that we're kind of creating a little bit of a swale in order to keep everything off of the neighbor's property. So the drain there would just be just in case we capture anything before it kind of made that turn around the house. And although we don't show it, that would get tied into those leaker drains.
So, where is the water draining to?
So it's all draining to underneath the driveway. If you look at this detail here, there's a 545 square foot by 1.5 foot deep of crushed stone, clean crushed stone. That basically, in theory, it's got 40% voids because if you put a fill the bucket with crushed stone, you could then add water. And they've measured it kind of that way, so there's a 40% void. So we do the calculation, actually it's somewhere drainage outs up here that kind of outline the 1.3 inches of the rainfall landing on the roof, then going to this area here and storing it. And then in theory, some of that's going to infiltrate into the ground if there's successive storms and there's an overflow right at the property line. So the water would kind of fill up that infiltration system, and then it would sheet flow along the front here and get into the gutter system and then go to the drain that's in the street.
That
So-
was a storm sewer system.
Storm sewer system. And that's, you always want to have some relief in case it does not infiltrate into the ground or there's successive storms. So this is kind of worked out pretty well because basically it fills up under the driveway. Probably 95 or 96, 97% of the time, you're never going to see any water come off this property. Those kind of heavy storms where you get an inch or two an hour or something, may not be able to handle it, but you probably won't even notice because there'll be so much kind of water in that kind of storm that it'll just basically sheet flow along the edge of the driveway, enter right into the gutter system and go right into the drainage. So it's kind of a pretty best management practice standard engineering approach to single family homes.
Other questions or comments from commission? So you're gonna take out that retaining wall that's behind it?
There's a existing wall that's right on the property line. We are not taking that out.
Okay, because I'm looking at
Oh, that one. That's
existing stone retaining wall to be removed.
Yeah, there's one that's a little bit lower. That one will be taken out.
Okay.
Sorry,
That's-
there's another one up top along the property line that we are not touching.
Okay, because you go from 38 to 34 pretty quickly up there, right?
38's on the other side. Yeah,
Right, but yeah, coming down that hill. Okay, so that one stays, but that is shown at it's right on the property line.
yeah, so we couldn't, even if we wanted to, without permission from Pfizer, we couldn't touch that.
Okay,
Because it's a shared, typically interior stone walls or the center line of the stone wall is the property line.
has the lot changes, I mean, what roof is it, this was so big completed?
We did a lot line revision when it was signed off, file, and I think file it works up.
Okay, so that's been done, so. Because I mean, otherwise we'd have to, if we did an approval, we'd have to condition it on making sure that helped. But that's completed. Anything else? Commissioner, comments or questions? Just check my notes here, see if there's anything else that I need to add on. We've done it. Was there a stormwater management report done or?
Not really a report, but the kind of the standard best management practice stand up right on the plan. Which are the drainage outs top, middle of the plan set, and then meet the detail of these need to put things system.
All right, and your calculation is that can handle the first 1.3 inches of
Right. That's a relatively recent up from the inch. Here's the advantage. The number of years, 20, that's 20 plus years. And the state just up that to 1.3 inch.
and the retaining wall that you're removing, you're gonna take care of the grade, so you're not.
Yes, so we show those contour to out 3 to 1 is kind of where we draw the line. Probably that's pretty standard. Where I always say it's a mowable slope, so it's not too steep, 2 to 1 or 1 to 1 where you tip a mower over it. If you're challenging the mow, so 3 to 1 is kind of a standard. Again, not 100% sure what your rates say, but most towns are 3 to 1.
So 3 to 1 is 3 feet
3 feet, 1 foot rise.
for every 1 foot rise for every 3 feet.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's pretty benign, I guess.
And you're saying 3 to 1 is what considered okay, or
That's
Yes.
from an engineering standpoint, I consider it okay. One, just from a practical standpoint, it's mowable. Like
mowable?
mowable, you can drive a mower over it.
Oh, mowable.
Not worry about tipping over. Once you get to like 2 to 1 or even 1 to 1, then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're trying to mow. So from a practical standpoint, that's the way I generally look at it. Most regulations use 3 to 1. Some will say you can go to 2 to 1 as long as you can put erosion control blankets down to stabilize it. But then from a practical standpoint, we get into trouble trying to maintain it. So
Forgive me if we've already covered this. I'm sorry if I would not pick it up, but
that's
I
okay.
see in the existing property line and proposed property line. That's what I'm seeing here. The existing looks like a chain, and then there's a proposed property line. Is that what you were talking about in terms of, I'm looking at a picture that doesn't have the house on it.
Oh, so this looks the existing line.
Yeah, it looks like it. Oh,
Yeah, so I think
I think,
so that's the size of it. Previous, we took this triangle and added it to one, create a more rectangular lot as well as a larger lot.
so is that
That's
the extra that goes out to the proposed, is that final, is that?
this is the final. This is the final line.
That's the final line.
Upper line. Yeah, I mean, at this point, we could have. We already went through that process. We could have left that on, so we just kept it on there.
That's when you were saying that you increase the size of the lot to make it less non-conforming.
Correct.
Right, from something on 4,000, that's not a guy, that's what.
Yeah, we had that on there, so.
Yeah, that's in your, I mean.
All right. Anything else from commissioners? Keller, any input on this?
No.
Okay, you. Go ahead.
I don't know, I'm just making a remark, it's not a question. I don't feel like I have the expertise on this kind of drainage matters to know what I think is a good idea. But
Leslie wouldn't be happy for sure. But that doesn't mean that it's not a good job. It's just, we used to have a much higher standard with rain gardens and drainage, but
oh, that's changed.
Leslie's not here. Since Leslie's, it's not, I'm sorry, misspoke, it's not standard. Our former city planner was very meticulous related to drainage issues.
Right.
So we had a very good expert to sort of sound off.
I see what you're saying.
In my opinion, this all seems very reasonable. But I do take your point. That the other water engineer.
Rain gardens, we've kind of been shying away from, just because a big question we get is, what happens when nobody maintains it, and what happens when they get filled with silt, or what happens when the plants die. And we have to sit here and say, well, it's going to be the homeowner's responsibility to maintain it and make sure that it's functioning correctly. And to be honest, most of the time we did rain gardens for years. Like when that first kind of came out, Yukon, whatever year it was, we did, I don't know, hundreds of them probably. And they would get installed, and then next thing you know, they would get filled in and no lawn put over them. And you can't control it. There's no, like, you can rely on the ZGO or somebody to say, oh, yeah, your rain garden is not functioning correctly.
So speaking for myself, I don't know that it's a rain garden is the solution or not the solution. It's just a water management plan. Understanding that and how that applies here is important.
Yeah.
And you know,
so a little bit, I think you have to rely on us as the professionals that were, yeah, I do the same thing for kind of every single family home, especially in a CAM area. Like this calculation gets on every plan. We've gone to the underground infiltration, shallow, spread out, just because less likely to fail, doesn't really need maintenance, it has relief. I mean, I was here before Leslie a few times, and I think, I appreciate her conscientious effort to make sure that the drainage is right. That's same with us. We want, we're professional engineers, and that's, we kind of.
Could you remind us, are your qualifications? Are you like a water engineer?
Well, I'm a professional engineer licensed in the state of Connecticut. So, my specialties are drainage, grading, septic, I don't know, site development, like single family homes or commercial, industrial site development. So we're doing, this is kind of a small stormwater system. We're doing them for, 3 or 4 acre commercial sites where we're capturing and reducing storms that are much larger, a much larger land, much larger impervious coverage.
So can you tell us that you're confident that these technologies will do what they're supposed to do?
Yeah, I mean, this is, I'm very confident. This is a very simple system. You're basically just piping, most people have gutters on their houses. You have leaders coming down. A lot of them just dump right on the ground. Or just piping it all to one location that's actually down gradient from the house. It's very close to the gutter line, which has a stormwater system. So, kind of, if it fails, it's just kind of fill up and come out of the perpendicular driveway into the gutter line. But I mean, it's a simple system as it gets. The rain gardens can be just a little more complicated because you have different layers of it. You have a crushed stone layer that gives you storage, and then you have a soil, like a topsoil sandy layer, and then you have a mulch layer. So it's got to be built correctly. Then you have to have, when that thing fills up, you have to have what I call a level spreader, where if it does fill up, it has a place to go that's not going to cause problems. And I think just the rain garden is a more challenging, not necessarily design, but an installation and the maintenance issue.
But that's not even proposed.
Right, but this is as simple as it gets. Like, this is not I wouldn't call it a fancy technology or anything like that. I would just, that's straightforward, dump water into a crushed stone, let some infiltrate, it fills up, it ends up in the gutter and in the drain system.
but from my perspective, because it's a non-conforming, it's a smaller lot. a little more. I want to understand a little better about the water management, and it's the slopes and things like that. I think, it's,
What's the change in elevation from the curve to the back of the property?
For 18 or 19 feet. So it's 15, almost 16 down here and 34 up here, so it's 18 feet. And I think just to that point, it's a smaller lot, but we still have to, it's a percentage of the smaller lot that's allowed to be built on.
Yeah.
So it's not like we can build a bigger
Right.
house.
More coverage of the.
Right, so it's all proportional.
Yeah.
So I think that helps. And I don't know, it's like you're looking at the architecturals. It's a pretty,
Looks nice.
it's a nice house, and it's not like a sky. I would say, you see some houses that are like skyscrapers, 3 stories, maximize the floor area ratios. It's not this.
Is it like a French drain at the head of the driveway? Is that something that would be part for here? You had mentioned that the runoff would be the street, drains would take overflow. I don't think that's what they're designed to do, to be the fallback system.
Well, that's after the first 1.3 inches, like the average. And just 1.3 inch storm is a very big storm. Like it's like the top 5% of storms. Like most storms are like, even today, they rained a little bit. It's probably like a 500th of an inch. Or yesterday, I think Sunday was supposed to rain, or 2 days ago. But I don't even think we got a 10th of an inch. So it's just that, like, all those storms just disappear into the ground. You never see anything basically like this. And again, it's not a steep. It is steep if it's 18 feet change, but it's 3 to 1 coming down the hill, which is again relatively. I wouldn't say it's flat, but it's not. It's not 1 to 1, or it's not. Some of the existing grades on there in the back were a little steeper than that.
Because of the steepness for the grade, you were saying earlier that the house is kind of built into the hill a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of like backed into the hill. And it's this pool thing with the crushed stone. You said that's under the driveway.
Yes.
Yeah. So how steep is the slant of the driveway itself?
The driveway's flat. So,
I'm wondering about water coming down the driveway. It's not going to get to like development.
It's changing. So it's with those 1.3 feet across, like 20, almost 30 feet. So that's like 3%. So I don't know, 3 to 1 is, well, 1 to 1 is in these. I don't know, it's typically it's 3 and percentages, so kind of screw me up a little bit.
I'm trying to get a picture of how slanted the driveway is.
Yeah, so the grass is 3 to 1, so that's 1 foot rise over 3 feet. This is 10 times, the driveway is 10 times flatter than the lawn at 3 to 1, because it's 1.3 feet mostly versus 1 foot and 3.
The driveway contours on the plan go from roughly 22 to like 16 that they cover. That's most of the underlying contour for.
Yeah, the underlying, but we're not into that. There is a retaining wall located on the northwestern property line that allows us to flatten the driveway out. Like, I'm not gonna ever have a driveway that's steeper than 5%. where the cars are gonna park on them. So we're closer to 3% of room. Because if you, after 5% on a driveway, again, which is 1/6 of what the lawn is, if you park on that, I'd be parked on steep, where you open the door and you have to hold it, or else it slams back on you. Like anything over 5%, there's that danger of, and I just don't design driveways where the door is potentially gonna come sliding back into you. So the driveway's relatively flat, and you can see in this detail, the crushed stone infiltration system is level. Then the driveway has a slight slope from the property line up to the house. And that's to scale, so it's proportionally correct.
So the driveway is kind of, it's 42 inches. Back to by the house, right?
The 42 inches is actually the depth for frost protection for the
Like flooding. Okay, well, I'm just
yeah.
looking at, that's the proposed driveway is that is 42 inches below the bottom of the footing. Right? And just trying to get a handle on where we are, like this doesn't. So then there's not an elevation at me. So it doesn't. Obviously, but the lot is 87 feet deep, and at a 1 to 3, it could handle 28-foot drop at 1 to 3, right? So
Yeah, the worst case, we're at 3 to 1.
right, if we want an 87 a lot that's 87 feet deep, could handle a 28-foot change in grade, correct?
Yeah, it's a continuous.
It was continuous. That's good. So we're talking about
Yeah, there's
less than that. It's an 18-foot difference.
and there's
20.
you could see by the closeness of the contours, like these, like the 34 and the 32, they look to be about 2 to 1, and then it flattens to 3 to 1. So there is a little bit of 2 to 1 up there. And then it flattens from the 30 to the 28. You can see there's at least for most of the backyard, it's pretty flat. If that's where you walk out. That's so this lower level, you're kind of walking in, and then the house, you walk out the next level up, you walk out onto to the lawn. So it's kind of a reverse walkout basement, I guess.
The walk out second was what?
Yeah, yeah, well, walk out. Yeah, walk out. The
Yeah.
lower level, you're walking out in the front. The upper level, you're walking out one level up on the back.
I'm having a little trouble quite understanding what I'm reading. Is the driveway parallel to the front of the house? And parallel to the street? I'm not sure which are the driveway lines.
So, I don't know, if you look at this little lantern charting pad in the bottom left corner,
Yeah,
that's the driveway, which is perpendicular to the street, but then takes just a touch of a curve.
okay, all right,
And
all right.
it's again, the existing non-conforming law. We're reduced in our coverage, we're reduced in our syntax, reduce our building footprint. And forget the rear yard calculation. I think it's 25% of the lot depth.
Yeah.
So it's, and so we kind of fit what again we consider a reasonable sized house inside the building footprint lines. That is it's not a Ideally, the house might have gone back a little bit further, allowing us a little bit better, but we gotta work on what we, yeah. And it's pretty good, I think. I think it's a decent house, decent looking. Driveways reasonable. Grading's reasonable, you know. We're all trying to, yeah, I think we dealt with the drainage pretty well. Yeah, it's pretty good setup. Minimal, you know, we do have some retaining walls on both sides of the driveway in order to flatten that out.
So, I mean, if this wasn't in the can, you wouldn't even be here.
And even if we came in October, pre-October 1st, we
Right. One, but it's, so this, yeah, this was not in the, this was on the other side of Eastern Point Road, you would be. So it, there's one note on the plan, it says proposed test pit confirmation of depth to ledge and soil types under the driveway.
yeah, we just want to make sure that we're not going to hit anything there. I don't think we are because we dug over here. We did hit some ledge up further up the hill, but down low. We just want to make sure. That's why we keep we like to spread the infiltration system out as much as possible. So the depth you can see is only 1.5 feet. We could extend it. We could make it 1 foot thick or 9 inches thick and make it bigger, but try to just keep it in the driveway. But we would just confirm that. That's more of a for our own.
Well, to me, it would seem fairly important if, to make sure you're gonna have enough room to put in that your infiltration system, right? You would need to know where the ledge is.
Yeah, there's some other options. If we did hit worst case, if we hit ledge there. We could separate the two systems, make a system in the rear to capture just the back of the house. And I know, we don't have to worry as much there because we have there's some fill areas where I know we can get it.
So will there be an as-built that's so that we know what you're going into and what actually got built there?
If you guys require it, I don't know if the zoning department requires an as-built in the city of Groton. But you could make that a condition if you had concerns about the stormwater.
Well, I mean, my concern would be, I mean, you're the engineer, you're the professional at this, so your calculations. I'm okay with those. The only thing that concerns me is we're not 100% sure what's under that driveway, where you're gonna put the infiltrations on. And if there's ledge there, it's not gonna, you're not gonna have room to put your infiltration system. Then what happens and what governs what happens after that? We're gonna give you, if we give you approval to do this, and you can't do it, and how do we manage what needs to be done in order to control that stormwater? I guess that's me.
And what section has it built?
That shows what actually was constructed, how it was built.
So it's too late to stop it.
Well, right, it's already happened.
Yeah.
But it would at least let us know what was actually done. If it doesn't follow the plan, then we would at least know what was there.
Right.
What was done. Yeah, it would be good to do anything about it at that point.
But it's done.
But at least we know what's there.
From my point of view, you're very helpful. I understand because you are before us and we are looking at this. We do have to have some idea, in the future that what rain sheets of water washed down off of this property and then it was here before us and we didn't properly sort of assess what can happen. I don't think that's the case here, but this is why we're trying to put our head around making sure that what goes in is gonna do the job basically, so we can get to yes without having any public safety issues with the water not contained on the site in normal rains. So
Having a comfort.
Make happy contrary that.
Yeah, I would say the first thing we're gonna do with that confirmation test kit. When we get out there, and if, we can't get any depth in the driveway area. No, we would redesign the system. Just looking at it quickly, we would, I mean, I want to get a call saying, hey, we can't do this, right? And we'll say, all right, well, let's look here, and I know we can do it. Again, I know we can do half of it in the back. So I guess I'm not overly concerned about it. But I'm happy to, I can understand the commission's concerns, and I want to kind of relieve your concerns by saying, we're going to do the right thing. Make a condition to make sure we do the right thing. We're going to do it anyway, because we don't want water running down. We don't want complaints from the neighbors. We don't want Public Works coming and saying, hey, this was a grassy down. I don't know, grass is the right term, but it's vegetated, lightly vegetated. And there's no problems until it's easy when it's after it's developed to say, oh, that never happened before. I get it. But so we're gonna do the right thing. We're happy if you make a condition that says, I can run a design by.
Well, why don't we, I mean,
Or come back even. I don't even want coming back.
well, I mean, we could condition it on, you do your test pit. And you confirm that you got enough depth to put the infiltration system in. And if you don't, then you come back and talk to the city planner about how to handle it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Is that something that would make people comfortable? If,
Yeah, you can always come in for a site line modification
Right.
and
come in for a
I don't
modification.
think that they would need to. come-
Well, listen, we can make that a condition. That's what I'm saying is.
If it were the case that this plan doesn't work for you,
That's right, because we
another plan.
don't in fact know for sure that the test pit hasn't been done, so we don't know. We don't know what's down there. Chances are it's all fine, but if it's not, we want to know about it, and we're gonna want to, and I think the city planner would, they have to work with you on how to fix it, but to come to whatever makes sense to fix it, but rather than having, I don't know if you have to come back here, but at least they have some kind of a check to make sure that what we think is there is what's really there. Because, like the shore end of the seawall had much trouble because what they thought was there is not what was there. Right? And that cost like $10 million. So far. So we just want to make sure that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, so if we weren't in the can, we wouldn't be here tonight.
Right.
But I would also design the same system. So there must be a mechanism in place where somebody in the city of Groton approves our zoning permit, right?
Yep.
And then if we can't do what's on here, we would come back to that same. Okay, so I'm okay with however I think what you said. I don't know if I can repeat it, but
I'm not sure I could either, but that's. Jason usually does a good job of figuring out whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, comments from anybody? And I mean, we can approve of this, we could go to a public hearing, right? Is that true, or,
Yes.
but we don't have to?
Yeah.
Right, we could approve it based on our, or we could put the condition on it that I talked about, to say, do the test pit, make sure that, system that's designed will be able to be built. And if everything's okay, we're good.
That's not need for the city planners approval, otherwise, you can read this in the notice.
If it continues to come about that we decide that whether we will or will not request a public hearing, how is that decision arrived at?
Well, this there are some things that require a public hearing and some things that don't require. This does not require one, but, you know, if we felt that there was need for public input on this, you know, we could, yeah, we could schedule one. Is that, am I saying that right, Kelly?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I don't, to me, I don't see the need for a public hearing on this, but, but I do think it would be worth knowing for sure that the infiltration system can be installed as proposed.
I agree, but if I thought of it, since there's a machine sitting on the lot, I would have done it. I would have done it before I came here to move, but I didn't even. I didn't cross on the tons. Apologize for that.
You would have done what?
I would have done the test pit.
Oh, it's that simple? Does
Well, there's a, I think someone said there was a machine sitting on the property, so yeah,
on Sunday, there was a big
yeah.
deer digging thing out.
If I put the pieces all together before tonight's meeting, I would have had them dig a hole there.
Oh, sounds so simple.
It is relatively simple since the machine's there. Usually the hardest part is getting the machine there, but because it take all of 5 minutes to dig a hole. But no, so we're through there.
I know where you're at. That's
Yeah, that's what, that's,
10% of the year to do the test.
right, that's, I guess that's what I am suggesting is we prove it with the condition that, you know, they do the test pit confirmation and as long as, you know, that what they find allows the system to be installed as designed, and then we're fine. Otherwise, they come back, if there's a problem, they come back and work with the city plan and try to be fixed.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're not safe. Figure out a way to say that.
Now that you look at it,
I think that makes that a motion.
Yeah.
Call that a motion.
Or approval with the condition that anything just test Kim application will be referred to the city planner for a notification. Never posted. When we get that, let's count. So if it's approved with the condition that if there are any changes made to the site plan, then this would be referred to the city planner for a site plan modification.
Oh, do that? This don't time. My folding will done way worse. That's terrible. But it's
Okay, so let me try this. So that we would approve it with the condition that any site plan changes required by result of the test pit are reviewed by the city, with the city planner. How's that? That makes sense? That capture what we. All right, so is there a motion to approve CAM application number 344 for construction of a single family home with coastal area management zone at 25 Circle Avenue, with the condition that any site plan changes required by results of the test pit are reviewed with the city plan. Is that? So motion by Mr. Boris. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Bergeron. All right. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, extensions, it's a huge 4-0-0, thank you.
Thank you for your attention.
Provoking questions to make the commission. Appreciate it.
All right, let's see. Next item on the agenda is review of regulation sections 2 and 3. And I don't want to miss the discussion of the zoning regulation change itself. Can we look at that on the
Yeah.
agenda?
Sure.
And just, let's make sure we get to get to the zoning regulation changes, and then we can, exhaust ourselves on that,
Oh, yes.
on the other stuff. But I want to make sure we get that one, because that's got. Get some down before things actually, so. I got a thing on retailer.
So I marked up the sections that will be affected by the bill. And so I want my light that's the so I had some definitions in section 2.
Is that in here?
Yes, all of it's in here, all the markup that you guys will. It's everything. And so the definitions I added are transit community mental housing. And is to keep I also met with CCOG because they reviewed this as well with me, make sure I'm on the right path. So I added transit community mental housing, summary redefinition, and the parking needs assessment definition. And I wrote my memorandum, kind of what it's summary review meetings. And for section 4, for the commercial mixed use zones, I added suggested changes to streamline the permitting process for middle housing developments. And it's also recommended that you evaluate the existing provisions to parking reductions by special permit and consider placing them as framework based on the parking needs assessments. And we have marked that up and see what that would look like. And few concerns on the CCOG end. So there is the industrial and technology campus zones. So the current language in the industrial and technology campus zones, the mixed use is similar to mixed use development. It's recommended the language to clarify rights are removed because middle housing, at least in the bill, is targeted to be in commercial and mixed use zones, but not so much the industrial technology zones. We reviewed the language that says other uses permitted in the zones. So not sure if you guys would want to revise or clarify to make sure that maybe we're not allowing middle housing in the industrial and technology zone, but it's really up to you guys' commission. For density standards, we're also suggested to retake a look at the density requirements, particularly in section 6. And I also, for the floor area requirement, I was suggested to eliminate that just because we already have the building code minimum floor area, and I believe housing bill suggests that for the floor area, we have to abide by the building codes minimums now. And so for parking, so you guys can adopt up to 2 conservation and traffic mitigation districts. So this would actually allow you to review parking under 17 units. So it's really up to you guys what zones that you would want to, if you would want to make a district like that, where you would be reviewing multi-family applications that are under 16 units and for parking, and they would have parking requirements in place. Otherwise, if these districts aren't established, then you would have to abide by the housing build rule, where under 16 units for developments for that, you would have no parking requirements, and then 17, yes, you would. And then for section 8 and 9,
So for 16 units and lower, if we don't make none of these districts, then we can't make any rules for parking.
Correct.
We
Yeah.
can require any.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so for section 8 and 9, I added a new section that kind of describes what a new summer review process procedure would look like. This isn't a new application. This is really just kind of a procedural guideline that makes it so that it only goes up to site plan review for a level of application review. So you can't do a special permit, you can't do a variance, you can't do a special exception. It would have to just abide by site plan standards.
And there's also some. You might also want to retake a look at the design considerations, because I know design considerations can't really be reviewed anymore, like the look or the character of the building, at least in Sydney Groton. And then
We can't.
so for like the architectural design, like fitting it with the character. So it's all in the markup. So that one we're still looking into for like design recommends, but like you can't condition like a certain like design requirement for like a mid housing project. Like you can't, it's like, so you can't like impose, like as long as it meets your site plan standards, you can't just impose like extra conditions for the middle housing development, if that makes sense.
Is it? In some cases, we've declared a design district.
Yeah,
Is this impede our ability to do that?
that I will have to look into.
Site clarification. The new storage district.
Yeah, yeah. So that I will definitely get more clarification on, because, but yeah. I don't know. And then, so other changes is zoning map and text change amendments. So the vote has been reduced, so you no longer need a super majority vote, you need just a simple majority vote to approve map and zoning amendments. And you need a increase in petition for proposed amendment, so the abutting property owners, instead of 20% for satisfy the petition requirements, it would have to be 50% of the abutting landowners that would petition for or against the zoning and amendment. So,
I'm sorry, that's in the legislation.
yep. And so the summary recommendations, the commission is advised to adopt the proposed definitions and summary review framework, amend section 4 to permit middle housing under summary review, place existing parking reduction provisions with parking need assessment language, clarify permitted use within industrial and technology campus zones, review and adjust density standards when applicable, consider the establishment of conservation traffic mitigation districts, and update the procedural regulations to align with statutory requirements. So those are the changes that you should be expecting. We don't have to get this to tonight unless it's definitions. So, but I'm definitely open to any comments on how we can make the zoning regs conform to the housing bill.
So when do we have to have this done by? I guess that's
So
What's the
I
deadline?
usually by July first, but
of this year.
yeah, so but really these would, so the statutory requirements would take into effect July 1st, 2026. So really, this is just about us catching up to make sure that we just have a clean set of zoning regulations that will at least conform to this housing bill. So we can adopt these pretty much. We can go past the deadline if need to, but they are in effect.
Couldn't you insert some of these changes?
Yeah.
In the section 2 or 3 already?
Yeah, so yeah, all those markups. So
They're all in
Yeah.
there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're in alternate color or something.
yeah,
So realistically, by July 1st of this year, we're not going to have this all.
I mean, yeah.
So in the case of these parking and conservation districts, we'd have to determine where those districts would be, like map them.
So I guess you've already proposed updates to most of the sections that were required.
Yeah.
So some of those we're also doing other updates to. So we your idea is just to roll it all together with. But we don't have to do all of the sections at once. We do definitions and.
Yep.
You do sections 2 and 3, that's okay.
Nope.
We can get those done relatively quickly, then we can look at 4 and 6 and whatever else. Yes, we should be looking to make steady progress on that. So kind of like, that would be
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, so at least every meeting review at least section, and then once we're done, we can set a public hearing. Usually I like to set it not at the next meeting, but the meeting after, so that way we can get all the
comments in. And then hold a public hearing and continues. If it closes at night, then great, but so that's the plan.
Okay. Any questions or comments from, we have, some commissioners almost? It's, I mean, it's actually fairly extensive. Because it touches a lot of sections.
Well, does the new housing law, does it contain some of the language that we might want to just take
Yes.
and plop into our
Yes.
law?
So the definitions I included,
Right, I saw that.
they are pretty much taken straight out from the housing bill, so.
Or like say like section 6 density standards, that's not a definition, but does that have, does the bill have, does the law have material that we could just take and put into our own?
I believe so. I did see some density like measurements in there in the bill, so I can definitely look into that.
So we could take some of the work they already did.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And every other municipality in the state is reviewing these right now, so even if you wanted to do some research and look at how they're also, I am too, how they're also funding the new changes, and that's also very good to look into as well.
All right. Thank you. So we're already looking at section 2, so
I have a really silly question, but section 2, key definitions, it says transit community middle housing. Yeah, what's transit mean? I mean, why is the word transit there? What is that? It's under definition is. Transit community middle housing.
Yeah, so
What is that telling us?
so it basically it really just means like 290 units for middle housing, but when this bill was created, it was more geared towards transit-oriented districts and implementing this middle housing. So that's why it's called transit community middle housing. So that's why there's the no parking window bonds, is because since when this bill was set into place, it was kind of in mind that this would majorly apply to like places with transit routes already built into it, like buses and trains and everything. So those would be the communities that are the most affected by this. But really it's about the middle housing 290 units. I put the definition there and I'll clarify it. But
All right, I just was thrown by that transit. I didn't see what that was supposed to be.
you and the rest of us,
Yeah.
It has to do with more like, people coming into work and driving home. But if it's the POCD language that was involved in earlier related to Groton, not having housing for workforce housing, so people could work at evenings and stay in town. They're transit, they come in and out. It's a big factor in our planning, is to try to figure out how to keep them here.
we also made the Wall Street Journal. Yeah, with the story about the art scrabble coastal manufacturing community, about what some of the challenges we were facing with Ski Beat tricks to hire more workers and fire butcher can keep them.
I'd read one of everything else. There's what honestly.
So I don't disagree with you, but that's that was the
I mean, I don't mind that word hard scrabble.
I don't mind it either. I just that was the way it was described.
More than deep.
All right, let's go back to. I think we're gonna start with section 3's and we're talking about that. last time we were here.
I didn't, notice something in section 2 that I thought was a little tiny bit problematic with some wording.
Okay.
Can we look, it's just, I think the wording is saying something, that's what I mean to say. I'm talking section 2 now, it's in the row house. With the definition of the row house. I looked at it twice and I said, what? Can I go ahead and read this today?
Here, go ahead.
Row house, single family dwelling that shares party walls with another same type and occupies the full frontage line. To me, that's saying the single family dwelling, which is simply the sentence, occupies the full frontage line. It does, these are side by side dwellings. Yeah, like townhouses. Yeah, sure. Single family dwelling that shares a party wall with another of the same type and occupies the full frontage line. Like each of the dwellings does not occupy the full frontage line. They intend to occupy the full frontage line that is not right. One of the two dwellings doesn't, any of the row of dwellings doesn't occupy the whole line. Which I understand that it's like one big lot with like row houses. Sure. That all share the same frontage on it. Yeah, they all do. Yeah. They all do. I understand. I mean, I don't understand what stories. Well, it's single family dwelling that shares a party wall and occupies a full frontage line. Isn't that saying that the single family dwelling at the start of the sentence occupies a full frontage line? But if no one sees that as a problem, I think that the sentence could end with after the same height. And all occupied the full frontage line? Like all occupied? Yeah. It just jumped out at me because it makes it sound like one of the dwellings occupies the whole frontage line. I just found it confusing. That was nothing with the fact. Yeah, when he read it, it said. When he read it, it sounded like everything after pet grooming was excluded. Yeah. But when you read it, it has a period. So you never to stop. Right. Well, it could be with numbers of the same type period, all dwellings occupy the full frontage line. Oh, that comes to actually just others. For all dwellings occupy the frontage line. Or just leave it. For single family dwellings. Or single family dwellings. And then the rest is up. What's the whole, I mean, where you say plan, where you start under the definition? Yeah. Single family dwellings, right? Okay. That share party wall with one another, same type and occupy those things. Yeah, all right, make that plural. Well, let's see what everybody else speaks about that. We'll get to it. Yeah, I see, make it plural. Okay. Yeah. We need to get a consensus. Right. Paul, what do you think?
I don't know, I'm trying to queue up that watching this here. Like, I prefer to take it when we get there, as we go through the whole
All
thing.
right, let's do that. I thought we were done with two.
No, we made a bunch, we went through two,
Yeah,
we made some changes. I just wanted to walk through and make sure everybody's happy with what it says. And also, I thought we may want to take a look at the multifamily. We're struggling with a multifamily. We had a lot of discussion about the minimum number of square feet per unit. But we also had, I think there were also some questions we had about do we need both R 5.1 and R 5.2, because there were no real differences in either, there were no real differences in like permitted uses or in the dimensional standards.
so that's much more complicated than this little thing, so. We-
Well, yeah, but I don't want to pick them off one at a time. I
Sure,
want to go through and finish the section.
but I just brought it up because I thought we
Yeah.
were moving on to three,
Well, we are on three. That's,
right,
well, my idea was to finish three.
right.
Sure.
Ready?
What?
So,
Six. Other ones. Yeah. See. All right, so. This is section 3. This is where we left it after the last meeting. And one of the questions we had, Ron, is do we need both R 5.1 and R 5.2? Both theirs. You look at them, there's no difference in use or dimensional standards between the two. If we're going to, the idea was that we can just have R5 and be done with it. So now there's that. Seems to make sense to points. Can we can scroll through the there's no there's a difference between R 5.1 and R 5.2 is for vocational training facilities, physical and developmental disability subject to requirements of section 6.9 of these regulations. That's a 5.2, but not 5.1. Is there any particular reason? Because the dimensional standards are the same. All of them. So you have to look at the map to see where 5.1 and 5.2 are. Okay, but when?
I was gonna say, I in that con.
For what?
I don't have I repair the last my dog had 6 years. Did you give us section 3? Actually, you did not skip over it. That's what,
Oh.
that's how I don't have.
Oh, all right, so,
That's why I don't.
okay, so we're not ready, so it's brief. Shit, it's-
You can do that.
That's, we'll go back to the next meeting. All right, just want to go on to two. Sure. All right. Well, yeah, you're watching me. So most recent version of section two. Is found new 16, right?
I did send you a copy Word
You sent
document.
us, you sent an updated word. And that's what, email?
Yeah, it should be like in this afternoon.
And are the updates in this printout that you handed us tonight? The one thing that we did decide on, because it is so confusing, we were inspired just to put a filter effect as the, yeah.
Definitely.
Just make that get to other spreadsheets.
Okay. This is the most recent we at, correct?
Yep.
So. Make it more easy for people to read. Oh, go through and look through it. All right, so we're going to change device to device, right? That's a no. That's a no-brainer, right? Oops. It had been device at one time. It's not occupied, so. Yeah. So it's going to be quite a big. And we saw apartment, we talked about putting all the dwelling related terms in the same section. There's some debate about this. So, because we had some of them in the, some of these type of definitions say seek dwelling related terms, and other ones have a definition here and a definition of a dwelling related terms. So this change was to just, so all the dwelling related terms are in the same place. Well, everybody okay with that? Taylor, that makes sense to you?
Right. It's like, was that this copy that we're looking at?
Dwelling related terms?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to it.
We'll get to it. All right.
Open it. Okay, this had to do with the build two line, and then like somehow in here we got the building line, Brendan, the build two line to define a consistent match to the public lot. This is just this is wording stuff, but does the revised wording make more sense than the existing?
Yes. Yeah, it's fair.
All right. I'm sorry.
It's good.
Yeah, it seemed to make more sense to me. The next one is principal versus accessory, and where we had typically stated these is principal versus accessory related terms. So that the related terms wording was added just to be consistent with the way the rest of these are cited. Again. Story setting the way to change this. This is not this one, this is just clean up. Anybody has anything over scrolling through, just tell
What word that you want?
So I added a commercial message because CR proposed adding some definitions that pertain to murals and artwork around the city. So definitions like commercial message, and I believe there's another one that I added in for murals. Just as a written statement, I should have brought to this meeting, but that's in there just for your review.
Okay, so I mean, this is, we don't necessarily have a use, right? For a commercial message, but we have a definition if that ever comes up. Is that one concerns with it?
Was the definition of statement for me? And will the approved. There is. Over in the money is. Then we don't regulate after mural. On the wall, there should come across.
We approved in this public garden.
Yes, public fire. That's, I remember reading that there, not that location, but subtle, there is a definition. that doesn't fit under commercial message or under the office? Was there a separate there?
Yeah, there's the definition of, I think, section plus purpose.
Yes. So, yeah. They have original works of art that are accessible to the public, including but not limited to murals, sculptures, mosaics, installations, and artistic treatments of infrastructure, such as utility boxes, benches, and walls.
Yeah, we did that over the mural on the outer light. All right, so this is a comment. There are. We talk about impervious surface in section 2.2 somewhere else, but it'd make more sense to do them here, and when we get to pervious and impervious. Referring to this section, I don't know if,
Are you saying, does it exist here now?
they do exist, but they're in a different place. There's, you know, they're a different location in here.
Right.
And what I'm suggesting, the question I'm asking is, would it make sense to put those definitions here and instead of somewhere else, that then, you know, when you get to those, you could just say, refer to sexual refer to coverage related terms. So, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. So I'm not gonna mess with that here.
I'll just make a note of it.
Thank you.
So that'll be, the two of them will be in a little box.
Yeah, they'll be in that box.
Yeah.
And then when we get down to them, we'll just refer to the box.
So I was told by zoning that the ADU picture diagram thing, half of those are actually, they don't meet the zoning requirements. So they said that could be potentially problematic for developers to refer to that. Cause there's like the basement and then there's like the above attached over the garage. So Sierra and I were talking about maybe revising the picture or just eliminating it as a whole. But
Are you saying that the pictures don't conform or the
yeah,
definition?
or if the pictures don't conform, so they're misleading to developers for when they go and look at these zoning regulations and see what they can do and not do.
So they don't think they're not consistent with the description.
Yeah.
Do you know which ones are wrong?
The one with the above garage, the one with the basement for sure. And then, I also have another copy of this marked up where it has crosses on this, so bear with me. I believe that was the upper floor ADU. I'll have to double check my markups on that one, but it was that picture that they were concerned about.
So do those conditions not exist or are they just depicted incorrectly?
So it wouldn't, so this would just be, is depicted incorrectly in accordance with these zoning regulations.
So
Yeah.
where in the zoning regulations are they? Is the, you know, where the conflict is?
So you can't have a basement ADU unless you have, I believe it's a egress walkout, but that's all building code. And then some of our height requirements currently don't allow for like the attached above garage ADU unless it meets the height requirements, but I'm going over the zoning regulations, they mentioned to me that this could be misleading because you can't do 3 out of the 6 of these.
Well, so they're saying you can't do. So this one that's a code violation.
Yeah.
This one would it would be okay as long as it was within a 35-foot height limit.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
And the same with this one.
Yep.
So,
Oh, so the ones on top, that's what it was. So, so I did also propose language to revise the language that would bar from this, but but right now for the zoning regulations, there's no so with a party wall rule, you can only do a vertical party wall for attached two-family or ADU. So I did suggest language to kind of revise that to allow permission for the attached above and then the upper floor ADU, but the basement ADU, that's definitely a building code violation.
so we can fix this one and this one.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
but not this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely with that one, because you see the ADUs underground. So I'm gonna
Yeah, well, there's a picture, so.
yeah.
So are you talking about changing the written definition so
Yeah,
that
just the picture.
matches the pictures?
No, the picture so it matches the definitions.
All right, so they gotta go.
Well,
Well, it's up to you whether we can fix it or we can eliminate it. So,
well, you mean eliminate all the pictures?
or
So-
we can
so are we-
picture apart together.
Well, I mean, it's all one picture.
Well,
It-
I think Sierra said that there was a way for her to kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she can, if Sierra can fix the picture.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Should take out anything that's gonna violate the building code.
Yes.
But yeah, the problems with the other two is we have to change our definition of party.
I added a retail definition in that. I also added a family attached definition for you guys to review.
Okay, so those definitions would fix the other two
Yes.
problems here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, I say that's fine if Sierra can take out that one that's unacceptable, that's the way to go. But that's beyond my capability with the tool.
Yeah, just spraying white on them.
That's right, exactly.
That's how I.
A little sticky note over it. Okay, semi-detached dwelling. Two houses together accommodating two dwelling units, 1 meter straight together for a party wall. Word but doesn't seem to belong there.
Yeah, but doesn't belong there.
But also, okay, so remove the but. We'll accept that. All right.
And that's my proposed language for the two-family.
Okay, so this is a two-family, this is your definition you added?
Yep, and this was taken from the same book of definitions where they get all these definitions and the party wall definition.
Okay. So we will add that. Oops. Okay. So the multiple family dwelling, 3 or more families dwell each by occupying 1 or more bedrooms, bathroom and kitchen. I added the word bathroom is added. Right? Because it's more than bedrooms and a kitchen. We don't have common bathrooms anymore. take a. What if you get away with the tenements like that? See? Okay. Who's in here about one means? This is just provides not the space and right, it's got very important many turns, it's got flood, it's got. And this frontage.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
Why was it that private and public frontage isn't counted underneath spot?
We can move it up.
I
Well, there-
there was a reason.
well, there's, I mean, it's. Yeah, I mean, that's. Private frontage and public frontage should be, yeah, I mean, like,
And then you can get rid of frontages to find it. But you can keep that secure.
well, this isn't just a, like, this is just like, look, let's so well, I'm gonna add those, you know, and those are new competition. And the frontage had been down later and then it got moved up. Moved along, not exactly. Select,
The red paragraph at the bottom can go away because that's
right,
up above.
right, yeah, we took out,
And then just use frontage, it goes.
yeah, frontage line has to move. And these comes at the.
Below the others.
This is, I can go back and clean the sort. No sense. You're watch, we still know that. Optional private frontages, see that. All this stuff. Just that were these related terms, things. All right, buildable room. So. What's that?
That's a loose.
Yes, on each station.
So I just made those changes to kind of just be more aligned with the open going.
Okay. I added in gas leak stations, I added other petroleum product. I added the word product. It's sell, other petroleum. See products using this one. All right, so we're gonna have. That room with the 70 square feet. Hallways. I will communicating doors. Corridors. Backs. All right. Lee turns. Because, here's where, we're getting impervious surface, we're gonna lose that, right? Institutional use. I don't know what to do, we're not doing that. What's zoning? Institutional, those attached facilities. What should we, I'm sure there's supposed to be a springs built in the municipal children, but. What's his, experts? And it would have been some love shells. Some. All right, so this manufacturing is a primary accessory use. We had using table mounted electrical machinery or artisanal equipment for manufacturing, which when did exactly include electrical. So, seemed to me it, when it,
I don't see the need for that phrase anyway.
yeah, well,
Kind of been kind of exacting.
I think we were, at one point we were struggling with, what if somebody wanted to do some small scale manufacturing in, commercial, so type of thing. And that sounds like there. Taylor, does the big book of definitions have something for manufacturing?
Big book of definition here is now.
Oh, it says, no,
What's that?
or it say so, no, I think it's really. I think what you had to begin with is just fine,
So we should take out the using.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I think we have like something regarding art studios and the genre and them just to get like pottery. For this artisanal equipment.
remind all of them and fix it. And yes, what, so,
If we don't get anything tonight regarding what we accept, what we're going to accept, when we change the things that we don't do, at the end, we can just accept them all.
yeah, but I'm afraid I don't want, if I try to keep a running list, that's my concern. I just assume, if you can bear with me. I'm not sure how much further we're on now.
No, I don't have any question about the time. I'm just trying to make it easier.
Oh, no, I understand, but I just assume if we're if you don't mind watching these
No, that's
mess around, like, so. This is just a messing with the capital, the uppercase letter should be capitals.
yeah, turn well. I'm a more. They're mixed use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, mural.
Yep, that was also proposed by Sierra to kind of just delineate the commercial advertising part of public art and then the mural. So this would just say this is not a commercial advertisement, it's just someone's artwork.
Okay. Do we need public art then?
Do you guys?
Well, that public art is in sculpture and bike racks and
Okay.
Yeah.
trash cans and utility boxes.
See. Yep. Good points. Keep it. Okay, got some spacing problems here. Open willing. Parcel, this is in lot related terms. He needs assessment.
So this is actually stole this from was it Ledger's definition of this? Paid by developer analyzes existing public and private parking for use. It's just basically a definition for us to point to when we get to the section 6, because I did include like a little section for parking needs assessment. So it's just a definition for us to refer to.
Okay. We paid for the like developer in definition or
Because he paid for it by development.
It's good to have it, but you guys feel free to revise it if you are.
right. What makes it clear?
Yeah,
All right. That.
and same with party wall, just a definition for us to reference to when we.
Okay, so this is, I mean, so that it goes for the side by side and up and downs, correct?
Yep.
Covers all the bases, that's all. Wait. Okay, pedestrian shift. We decided to take, this is something we talked about doing several meetings ago about taking out this standard pedestrian shed and a linear pedestrian shed, and just making a pedestrian shed definition to kind of cover the whole thing. Like, we talked about this. Is it everybody still on board with that?
I can't even visualize what a pedestrian shed in real world terms. I don't know what this thing is.
Generously, us, where people wait for buses. Oh, and there's a shed. Project.
unless,
On top, yeah.
the thing, yeah, that.
No, this is more of a. This I think came from the, was that thing Leslie used to talk about?
We saw first, we want one.
Yeah, but she had there was a type of zoning that she always. Term she used to stuff. I think this came from that. And I don't know exactly what it is or what the value of it. I'm sorry?
Was it the form-based code that she?
That's it. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's like, it's smart code, so it's basically like. It's like zoning suggestions on how to improve your zoning, and it's a certain type of methodology that some people will take. To do their zoning regulations.
All I'm kind of visualizing is when a community blocks off a street to traffic. A street is blocked off, like in Burlington, Vermont. They have the streets, certain 3 blocks blocked off, and it's just a pedestrian area. There's cross streets, but this one Church Street Marketplace, and for 3 or 4 blocks, it's a pedestrian area down a street. That's all I can sort of visualize.
That's probably a perfect example, I would think.
Where's the shed?
Well, I mean, the shed is
I think it means a space.
right. I
Space.
think, but I think that the term itself came from the form-based code. That's, for whatever, I don't know. It makes sense to planning professionals, right?
Sure.
Do you, I mean, do you agree, or do you think we should change to the standard pedestrian footbounds
I don't know, I like the definition for that. That's, yeah, pedestrian shed.
in the terms, okay,
Right. Well, it can be anything we want it to be if we just leave that kind of goofy name, Yeah, that's a shed.
So when it says about the distance of a 5-minute walk, then will that get us down Bench Street?
depends on how fast you walk.
Because a quarter mile, there's a quarter mile. Radius.
So that would be a 20-minute mile.
Yeah, it's a fast mile.
Public place of assembly, any area where large numbers of individuals collect and participate or observe programs I don't know why participation is stuck in there.
Yeah, forget that.
And it's the same with the next one. So.
Yeah, forget that.
Alright. You both find principal and accessory uses. Well, I'm not sure. I think this came from accessory use when there was defined somewhere else.
It seems like it's well written to me.
Cool. Gonna keep it then. And say bring checks. All right, accessory building / structure.
I just reformatted the language to match the principal building / structure.
Good. Okay. Okay, I changed prescriptions to requirements. Makes sense.
Definitely.
On the pharmacist's prescription. Prescription means something specific to.
Go best with my language. There's a
Stay
capital
in your
lane.
own- Stay in your own lane.
Yeah,
And Sierra suggested revising the public art definition.
Okay.
there's a errant capital letter in the paragraph above. There's a capital L where it doesn't really belong. Layers on layers.
This,
Yeah.
well, layer has got in two spots.
Oh, I'm talking about in the text.
Yeah, I mean, right here and right here,
Oh,
right?
oh, yes. Yeah, we don't need capital layer.
I'm not gonna get some. I like Sierra's definition better. And one, public art.
Yeah.
So,
You rolled past row house that I wanted
Oh,
to change,
I'm sorry.
but I have a useful suggestion.
What's that?
All right, this is what I suggest. Stop laughing. I'm listening. Row house, a single family dwelling that shares a party wall with another of the same type and shares a frontage line. And shares a frontage line. That solves my problem.
Almost clearest.
Because the way the original writing has the single dwelling occupying the whole frontage line.
It shares the frontage line. That's
Yeah.
what you think you should say? Anybody
Yeah.
disagree?
And shares a frontage line, period. End of paragraph.
Shares the frontage line, right?
Yeah, that's what I suggest.
Okay. Yep. Help that. We'll accept it right now.
Yeah, it's.
Excellent. Thanks for taking us back there.
You
I'm serious about
didn't
that.
mean.
I did mean that. I absolutely did.
Get it?
Take a compliment when you can say that.
That's right, that's right.
The bottom line. Yeah, so I thought that we assumed to have two definitions of the same thing. For setback. Where income, I should say, the lot line to building facade or elevation and some maintaining clear or permanent structures. Or minimum horizontal distance from the street or any lot line to any building structure or use. Reveal a straight line from and perpendicular to such or what. Got it. Is it? Do we need them both? Or, I don't know.
That's the. Yeah, what's in front is much better. It's clear.
Yeah. What's the,
It's clear.
Taylor started that big book of definitions and our setback?
Not big, but there's many different setback step definition, but the one you have makes sense to me.
You okay with taking this civic thing out then?
Yep.
Yeah, that's garble.
A story related to them here. Like some cooler standard way of doing this. Kind of. Street screen. I think we allowed vegetated street screens too, along with just a freestanding wall. Is that, would that make sense? Taylor, you said you believe so.
Yep.
So. Anybody disagree?
It's fine with me.
Okay, so.
The designs being there in the first instance. What was supposed to be adapted.
Well, in charge.
That was
No, you're right. I'll have to go back and fix it. I could have asked about. It's fine, left it go now. But. Sleep it. We can go back and fix the art. This is what put in this section of speedway is.
Could I'm sorry, go ahead. I mean, it could be, the reason why I asked why is because it says speed. And then those are two definitions underneath speed.
We're into two types of speed. I'd be there. Two different things we've talked about in terms of speed. So, but I mean, that's a formatting we haven't used anywhere else. I don't think.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, is that when we pick up it work plan.
It's not consistent with other formats.
Could I ask for just one word?
Yeah.
Tune up. Is that, and speed, just speed, the velocity at which a driver travels on a thoroughfare. Could we change driver to vehicle?
Oh, yes.
That makes more sense to me.
Yes. You are. That's a good catch. Makes sense. Right. Let's see. Station. story, okay? This is why I moved a new story to here. A bit of a level within the building, excluding an attic or raised basement. To a mini floor and floor and bottoms. Make sense? So we'll change the description.
It should other things that wrong.
Probably not, but I think it's a term, so. We should definitely share that at some.
There is, I saw it somewhat.
Looks for a definition, which you
Oh, yeah, it's right here. In this,
Well, there's definition of selling.
in the picture. The picture
it
defines
is
it.
the definition of basement. So need to both get capitalized, sorry.
Remember. See here, we'll just check in. Uppercase area here. Okay. Okay. Here it's solid, solid granite, solid walls, battery, here. Street, here we go, here we got a bunch of indented streets.
I did some of that, I was very, they played that.
Okay, so. I went through and changed one. Which is type of street. Because up here there was, they said any street, so I just made them all say any street. So they're all the same.
Okay.
Then street lining. Find above about exterior on model ligature on this, so. All right, so this is kind of out then it's very like street line.
I thought,
There's a definition here. The one used to issue in the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Just not. Yes.
expected that one.
Yeah, well, no, it's there. It's already there.
Okay.
It's right here. It's like a second one. Well, it says see lot related terms, but it's not there, but the definition was right here. So. One big state screen. Summary review. Oh, here we go.
So this definition is taken directly from housing development.
Okay.
Table something.
That'll work. Shoots, what's the word? Terrace. Okay, so I just rearrange the information in this statement. Say a level paved area or platform next to a building or a structure. Blah, blah, blah. That had said a structure or a level paved area, it's platform next to a building, so. That just seemed to make more sense. Subject language doesn't take.
Not that early, it's at 2.
Oh, good, okay, so.
Yeah. Direct flight too.
You're flying somewhere tomorrow?
Yeah, in the villages in Florida.
Ah, I
My
can,
grandparents are.
I can top that. Tomorrow I'm flying to Portugal. Yeah, that sounds better.
Yeah, I'd rather go to Portugal.
Okay, so this is transit community middle housing development. This is section with this is going to
Yep, directly, there we go.
the girls. For it is accepted. All right, turning radius. I guess the second statement didn't really seem to me to be part of that definition of a turning radius, but I could be wrong. The smaller the turning radius, the smaller the pedestrian crossing distance, and the more slowly the vehicle is forced to make the turn. It's flat. Leave it, take it, what? I don't know. Take it out. And they believe this is great.
Disagree.
I'll change here. At least not. Okay. Now we know to set it. Then supposed to know. Oh. One of those 31 goes. You know what it's away with some things.
They're not the line where it's the limitation.
Those kind of that kind of stuff like I'll go back and talk.
Yeah.
Every just some have let's use some pretty talk. And it was some weird. Thank you for all that. But the other side is it's where's the problem for that definition? Got a open bias.
Could we back up to water dependent, please? Box. There's a little correction, unless it's already been done. Yeah, under functionally dependent facility, look to the next to the last sentence. The term does not include seafood processing facilities, and then it should be long-term storage. Does that say long term?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says loan equal term. I'm sure it's long term.
Yeah.
Right.
Then to move well. All right. It's all folks. Okay. And the for tonight?
No, they don't.
That's a spirit.
It's just,
All right.
we second way.
Like that.
No fortune to adjourn.
Motion?
Motion for so like when it's on garage. All right, and she makes the analysis. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed,